All right, let's go on to the subject of what's called transhumanism. Now, some of y'all may already know what transhumanism, and I'm going to say it to people who don't know. Transhumanism is basically you're artificially evolving yourself of two things that I know of. One is the organic side, in which we will improve, let's say, all of our organic matter, like cells, uh, bone structure, and about anything else that we can rebuild. The ideal part of transhumanism is where in its artificial illusion part for the organic side, like I said, is to improve anything, including our a body, the structure of our entire being, excuse me, and from anything else that comes. And that side is going to be a little bit difficult. I won't say too far because of there's a company called CRISPR. Uh, they do genetic modifications or genetic engineering in some way. This could be the part where that part of transhumanism could work to improve human beings in the future. Now, you can't be able to improve somebody that is already born natural and have some defects from birth or from, just from being in an accident or whatever. Because some of those things can happen. There are some things that can actually prevent. No, there are just some things that can only be done on a human level. Now, if you increase, let's say, our immune system, our muscle mass, or anything else, all of that and combine to one superior human. I mean, you can probably see, a very tall, very powerful man, or a very tall, very powerful woman, into their own respective height and weight and strength level and condition. That's one thing that we want to do is to keep the condition from being deteriorate from age. That's going to become a problem because age does seem to have a factor within us. But now they may say that by reversing some part of the aging process within some cells that when we were young, we create some kind of a cell. I can't name it because it's not on top of my head at this point. But it can actually become the thing for it. It helps us become very young, very energetic, and very vital in our young age. But as soon as we get older, we lose this kind of cell. And it gets deteriorate over and over. And that's how we see like the aging process, like say with me with gray hair and wrinkles, and I'm just kind of shivering and old because I'm going to die again old. That's going to happen. Then there is the process of a different form, where it becomes what you may already know what it is being a cyborg. That means you're no longer this super organic being, or becoming this super organic being. Now you're more just machine. Everything a part of you that's organic is going to be replaced. Well, we already know a few that has already come out. Like, say, the artificial heart. Now, I know from the artificial heart from way back then, in the early 2000s, when they implanted into a person to stay alive for 6 months, at least that far. And after that, they didn't live that much longer because the process of that heart, the mechanics was new. Until I think sometime a year later, they may probably improved it. I'm not sure. I'm not looked it up. Because the artificial heart was a good idea and never actually advanced in that. Because that's what kind of makes me wonder why some technology like this never gets improved. But then when you look at, say, prosthetic arms and legs, they become more improved. over time, because human beings need this and our legs below to move around and grab things. Now, there are other things that are artificial at this point right now. Mostly one is the cochlear implant. Now, what that is, some of you don't know, may look like this. It's like a hearing aid, but except for it has the wire attachment up to the top. We have this little disc thing that we attach right around here called a speech processor. Now, what it is, there'll be a surgical process, and they put like a fiber wire thing attached to your auditory nerve. And when it comes into that auditory nerve, they have this plug that's attached to your bone. And that's when the wire comes up from this thing here to the speech processor into the actual hearing aid that can come into your ear. Now, they won't have something like this, which I can speak right through and you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm being weird. But from hearing this, no, this will be dead. The inner ear will be dead. So this speech processing part will go straight back in that fiber wire that is attached to the auditory nerve, which then sends the signal into the brain. And this process has actually been proven to be good. Now, there's been some other reports about having an artificial eyes. Sound a bit more better when two of these. With the artificial eyes, kind of like with the cochlear implant, they'll remove the actual eyes out from the socket, probably leaving the optical nerve into the eye socket, and then put in the artificial electronic eyes into it, attach it to the optic nerve, because that's the only thing they have that comes signaling to was the back of your head was the visual cortex. And without that optic nerve, you can't send visual signals to the visual cortex from the optic nerve. Now, with this electronic eye, I heard they saying that they're going to give like some improvements of vision. Probably more better clarity than what the actual eye will do. I'm not sure. I mean, like, I don't know if anyone had ever studied how the human eye really does. To some degree, I mean, to some degree we can know. Because visualness is part of our own function. We can't deal with anything without visualness, right? So, they say this will improve it would enhance your visualness to greater degrees, greater pixels. So it means you see better color, better texture, so like light and everything else. And maybe filter out some light so that you can see farther. I mean, that could be a good thing. Then there is the possibility of other two applications that they may want to put into it. This is interesting. And no, this is not going to have X-ray vision. Joke right there. But definitely no. But there will be two other things that are basically becomes like how you see with goggles. You have night vision application into it and say infrared. I say night vision would be a little bit better because you still need light into it. Having an infrared visual aspect into it is going to put much more tech into the eye. But if you put, like, say, night vision into it, because you can switch the lenses around, or have some way of the eyeball to switching, have night vision mode, and you can be able to see at night better. Probably way more better than saying what a human being can do. Because we do have some certain degree of night vision, but can only pick up certain lights. Now, animals have better ability to pick up much more dimmer light than we do. And that becomes the thing. But with night vision, using electronic vision, we can actually become way more better than animals. Power with electronic hearing, with better hearing, listening around. We could become superhuman by being a cyborg and then being an enhanced human. We're being enhanced human. You're basically just human at peak ability. My sinuses. Oh, hold on. Let's me blow my nose. I'm going to clear this out. So I guess I'm putting it in the back of my nose, and now it's coming on my mouth. But I think that's what transhumanism is going to become. And so, with that kind of transformation, I mean, like, I still want more of the organic side of it because that's much more what we want to have. Because we want certain preventions from happening, like, say, nerve damage or kind of prevention from losing our sight or hearing, and possibly have some neurological problems. You know. So if we have that, it can actually become preventable. Now, they may say, like, with Neuralink being to the brain, you can possibly improve, like, say, connectivity and all that crap. I mean, Elon Musk's idea of Neuralink isn't bad. I'm actually a fan of what could go with, like, say, some certain electronics. But as long as it's useful in a certain way for human beings to use. And maybe help to enhance some things in our brain, much like how electronic arms, legs can help to enhance our physical ability. And the more that we keep improving those mechanical features into some of those electronic limbs, then okay, look at this. This is how my arms does. I can independently move my fingers like this. An arm can only do like this. That's how those prosthetic arms can do. Has limited movement. My movement has more flexibility, more all of that. Okay? Includes your foot and legs. Like, say, if I see an athlete has one prosthetic leg and one actual leg, his original leg is going to have more movement than, say, this, because there's a little bit of stiffness into it. And I can see that, say, a soccer player. Now, the soccer player might probably use artificial leg for the kicking, because they may be able to design some that way. Whereas our leg can do the flexing. So when you do this, kind of like golf. You just use golf for a leg. You know, play golf as on a leg. And that's what I see with soccer. Or probably, let's say, with baseball or football. Of course, there are going to be some limitations of using these things in sports because they're expensive, you know, and repairs are costly. So some of those things are just, you know, like having those artificial limbs and things can help. Powering an artificial heart, computer chip in your brain, electronic eyes, ears. I mean, like, if you want to become that, become fully machine, go for it. Who's going to tell you what to do? Or you'll become more just enhanced person with some better features and may continue going forward with that. Now, see, there's two sides to that. The organic part still going to need to be studied to keep improving. That's one thing that's still complicated because of the human body. But if we keep improving all these other features in our own basic body and improving it over time, it becomes better. Where the electronic side can become improved like within 6 months over. And some new guy will come in and come up with a new idea about an electronic arm or electronic leg or an electronic thing for our body. Probably in a better jaw system to crunch up bone. But, you know, we can't digest bone. But, hey, if you want to crunch up bone with your artificial jaw, hey, that's fine. You know, just one weird thing I come up. But it is interesting to say that we, as human beings, want to become different. Right now, we're all on this whole different. I want to identify as this and that, but one day that trend could be gone, and want to become more cybernetic. That's how people like to play the cyberpunk game, become cyborg. I want to make my arm look big or small, or want to have my arm carry a gun and all those crazy features in the game. But into real life, and have like cosmetic arms and legs and all these other things. And maybe have one artificial eye on the eye, on one side and just be like, hey, I'm cool on that one, and have tattoos across some part, still what's part of your skin's left. All right, go for it. I don't care. Your body, your choice. So that's kind of what the whole future of transhumanism could come into. Much like with cyberpunk, much like with whatever. So, whatever you like to choose, put it down on the comments below. What you want to become. I'd like to hear about it.